A man was driving through a village when he saw a young boy sitting on a tree stump in the middle of the road. The man stopped his car and asked the boy, "Why are you sitting here?" The boy looked up and said, "I'm waiting for my father. He's coming home from the store." The man asked, "What's your father's name?" The boy replied, "Joseph." The man said, "Your father is a strong man." The boy asked, "How do you know?" The man said, "Because I've seen him carry the whole world on his shoulders." The boy looked at the man with innocent eyes and asked, "What do you mean?" The man said, "When I saw him earlier, he had one hand on his shoulder and the other hand holding a basket full of groceries." The boy thought for a moment and then said, "That's not my father. That was my uncle. My father is much stronger than him." The man was confused. He said, "How can that be? How can your father be stronger than the man who can carry the whole world on his shoulders?" The boy smiled and said, "Well, that's because my father doesn't have to carry the whole world on his shoulders. He just has to carry me." The man was deeply touched by the boy's words. He realized that no matter how strong we think we are, there is always someone who is stronger than us. But the most important thing is not our strength, but the love and care we have for each other. The man got out of his car and knelt down in front of the boy and said, "You are a very lucky boy to have such a strong father." Then he gave the boy a big hug and said, "Tell your father that I told you to take care of yourself because you are the strongest man in the world." The boy smiled and said, "Thank you." The man returned to his car and drove away. As he drove, he couldn't help but smile at the thought of the boy and his strong father. He realized that sometimes we get so caught up in our own problems that we forget to appreciate the simple things in life, like the love of a son for his father. He also realized that we should never underestimate the strength of family bonds because they are the strongest bonds of all. A man was driving his car when suddenly a huge rock fell from a construction site above and smashed through his windshield. The man was shaken, but unharmed. He got out of his car and started looking around for who was responsible. He found a small crack in the concrete barrier and saw that it was because of this that the rock had fallen. He took out his phone and started recording a video. He walked up to the construction site and started knocking on the door. When someone finally opened it, he asked, "Do you know why you almost killed me?" The man on the other side of the door said, "What do you mean?" "Because of your negligence. A rock fell from your construction site and almost smashed through my windshield. You could have killed me. Sorry about that," the man replied nonchalantly. "It won't happen again." The first man was not convinced. He took out his phone and showed him the video he had recorded. "I want you to take responsibility for what you have done." The man on the construction site looked at the phone and then back at the man. "What do you want me to do?" he asked. "I want you to give me $5,000 and then we'll call it even." The man on the construction site thought for a moment. Then he said, "Okay, but only because you're such a nice guy. If it was anyone else, I wouldn't have given them a penny." He reached into his pocket and pulled out $5,000 in cash. The first man took the money and put it in his pocket. Then he did something that completely caught the other man off guard. He took off his shoe and handed it to him. Confused, the man on the construction site took the shoe. "What's this?" he asked. "This is so that you will remember what happened today," first man explained. "Whenever you look at this shoe, I want you to think about how you almost killed me. And if you ever try to harm someone else, just take a look at this shoe and remember what happened to you." The man on the construction site nodded slowly. He understood what the other man was trying to teach him. Sometimes people need to be reminded of their mistakes so they don't repeat them.